Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
I am that dude, Bodkins. Patty to patty. It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy. Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkin Show. I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Bodkins Show. I am your host, Bodkins, of course. Man, welcome. It is NFL Week 14 playoffs. You want to talk about playoffs? That's how some of these teams got to be. The Falcons. I mean, Jesus. Who wants to win these South divisions? The AFC South, all three lose teams today. We expect the Titans to lose tomorrow night against the Dolphins. The NFC South, I mean, Saints win, but, geez, after last week, and then you get the Panthers in the Panthers obviously have been eliminated, but Falcons, Bucks game. I mean, who wants to win these two South divisions? I mean, Bills, it seems like this was definitely a must win, and they got it done. Chiefs, what the hell's going on? They're going to have to probably go on the road maybe for the playoffs. Who knows? Who's going to be in, who's out? It seems like every week we know one team, it seems like a team is in and then they're out. I can tell you one thing's for true, folks. The San Francisco 49ers are in an absolute elite class of their own when they're healthy. You look at everybody else around the league, the 49ers, their best is better than everybody else's best. But two guys who join me, and they bring the best every Sunday night. It's none other than Mr. Hall of Famer Scott Cobe and Mr. Yankee fan Johnny Cruz. Gentlemen, what's up? What another wild weekend Sunday in the NFL, Scott.
I am another quarterback that sucks too. I said it today earlier. Derek Carr. There's another one that sucks even more. No.
Scott, for reference, every Sunday, about 10 minutes in, Scott says this quarterback is the worst NFL quarterback in the NFL. Today it was Derek Carr. Last week it was Desmond Ridder. The week before that it was I don't know, Johnny. It could have been. I mean, just about every quarterback. You know, Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, Jordan Love. I mean, Scott has ran through about all 32 outside of maybe Patrick Mahomes. And a couple of, I think Josh Allen at one time.
Josh Allen, he might have said it too, man. Yeah. Scott Cope definitely has a short hook when it comes to these quarterbacks, boy.
I look at the stats today. I'm red zone cut to the Saints game more than it should have. First of all, second of all, I looked at the stats. I'm like, Derek Carr must be doing something. 12 of 18 for 37 yards. When I looked, I'm like, what the hell is this?
The Panthers are just absolute dog shit, bro.
Oh, that's
why
awful.
the Saints. My dumb ass thinking, who are the Saints to get 5.5, points. But yeah, when you're playing the Panthers at home, that's about a good bet. So yeah, that was a horrible loss there. The Panthers are just pathetic. Bryce Young looks like a middle school kid playing a bunch of, varsity high school kid. Like he just looks so small. For as much as they said about Tua being small, this kid is not only small, but he only weighs like 180 something pounds. You know what I'm saying? So the Panthers are horrible. Good job, Chicago, by getting their pick, because Chicago can go on a little run and still get the first pick in the draft.
I mean, this is Andy's saying this right here. Speaking of that, and the Bears won, and we'll get into all these games. Obviously, we'll break them down thoroughly here. But the Bears, he says, the Bears, play the Packers the final week of the season. I want to look at the Bears' schedule here going forward.
I actually thought Andy was trying to bait Johnny with the Bills, with the Bills and the Dolphins.
Oh yeah. So the Bears got the Browns. They're losing that next week. Flacco, hey, kudos to Joe Flacco. The Cardinals, they could beat the Cardinals. The Falcons, who knows what Atlanta Falcon team shows up, and then the Packers. But I would pick the Browns to beat the Bears next week.
I would too. And I like Joe Flacco and the old dog. Did some new tricks and did what he had to do. To play well for them. He did exactly what Cleveland needs him to do. Get the ball to the playmakers, just keep the chains moving. Don't make the critical mistake. That defense is legit, especially at home. So yeah, shout out to the Browns, and then the Bears. Shout out to Justin Fields, man. Not spectacular numbers, but 19 to 33, 223 and a touchdown, and ran the ball 12 times for 58 and a touchdown. If he goes on a little run here, not saying that they make the playoffs, but they win a few more games and Justin Fields looks good. Like, ain't he making a case for them to fucking build around him?
Keep him.
Like,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get why they're so quick to want to give up on him. Like, there was one play where he ran for the first down on a third down and like 14 or something like that. And dude, he has an extra gear, bro. Because like he started jogging that way, and then all of a sudden he just turned on the jets and just like blew past people. And it's like, if you can develop his pocket game to where he's, above average, not great, but if he's above average with the threat of his legs, I think he could be a really, really good player. You can win some games with him. But
what they should do is play to his strengths, and that's what they don't do in Chicago.
Right.
And that's what Philly does so well with Jalen Hurts.
That TD pass to DJ Moore today, that was a rope.
Right.
That was a rope.
That's what I'm saying. Put a couple more offensive linemen in front of him. Hopefully Cole Kmet, that's his tight end, right, gets healthy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe get him another stud wide receiver. Like with that first pick, bro, it would be Marvin Harrison Jr., bro. I would go right
if
there.
If he comes out. We don't know.
If he comes out. If not, then I trade the pick, get another boatload of picks, and just build up that offensive line in front of him, man. Give him another weapon or two. And in that division, it's them and it's you guys, bro. It's them and the Packers, because we saw what Detroit is really made of and what their quarterback's made of.
Well, we don't know. Detroit probably still wins this division. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean this year. I'm talking about next year and going forward.
Do you guys realize that the Bears are 5-4 after their 0-4 start? They're 5-4 in the last 9 games. What that tells me is that Justin Fields will be back next year, and hold the talk about that Matt Eberflus hook that he's going to get fired. If they keep winning games, this guy ain't getting fired.
Isn't this his first year too, Matt Eberflus?
No, second year.
That's what I'm saying. You got to give guys more than 2 years to like get their system in and stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't know. I like Justin Fields. I've liked him since he came out. That game?
We'll just go ahead. We'll jump right into that Bears game with the stats here, and then I'll ask you guys. So Bears do win 28-13. Johnny kind of already led Love stats, but Goff here, just a miserable game. 20-35, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Jahmyr Gibbs only 11 carries, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Sorry for the fellow we told to play, David Montgomery, 10 carries for 66 yards. Josh Reynolds 3 for 44 and a touchdown. Laporta, there are a St. Brown was all both held in check today. Fields 19-33, 233 yards, 1 touchdown. Also ran for a touchdown, 12 for 58. DJ Moore 6 for 68 and a touchdown. Was this game? Let me ask you this, Johnny. Was this more about the Bears or is this more about the Lions? Because the Lions they look just as fraudulent as your Dolphins, if not more, obviously.
Gotta love it. I guess a little bit of both, but I'm gonna give more credit to the Bears. The Bears are at home. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Justin Fields has a lot of you think he ain't hearing all the stuff that's being spoken about them taking the first pick and trading him, all this. I think he came ready to play. This is his first year with DJ Moore. I think the chemistry there is only going to get better. I give props more to Chicago than to Detroit. We kind of know who Detroit is, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? Like when we did our picks on Thursday, I jumped on the Lions right away thinking, Lions 3.5 over the Bears. Scott, that's why he's the Hall of Famer, reminded me, bro, they're outside. It's supposed to be windy. Jared Goff outside, and I'm glad he reminded me of that because I changed my pick. But he's just not a good player away from home, Jared Goff. So that's something we'll see what happens this year. I mean, they won enough games that they're gonna get into the playoffs and whatever. But I'm with you on that, Andy. I wouldn't trust him in any playoff game at all, to be completely honest.
What about you? Does this say more? To me, this says more about Detroit.
It says a whole bunch about Detroit, how if they have to go on the road, they're going to be the number 3 seed in the NFC playoffs. Okay, they're cemented in.
But do you even trust them at home in a wild card game? Like,
if it's Green Bay, right? Green Bay just went in there on Thanksgiving Day.
That's what I'm saying. I don't trust them at all, depending on who they playing.
What if it's the Rams? What if Matthew Stafford?
I would go Rams.
What if
I would go
Stafford
Rams,
drives
yeah.
back into Indy
Wouldn't that
or
be
drives
something?
back into Detroit and just gives it to Detroit? You know what I mean?
That would be some poetic justice
Do
right there.
we remember who the 3 seed was last year? It was the Vikings. And what happened in the first playoff game?
Giants
They
got
lost to the Giants. They were
Giants got 'em.
overrated.
Yeah.
This year it's going to be the Lions. If it's the Rams and the Packers, I would favor the wildcard team over the division champ. So
I hope they fall. I hope it's not us. Just because I do, because I'd like to beat them. I would love the story for Matthew Stafford to come back to Detroit and just.
I hear you on that one, but tell me you wouldn't feel good about your Packers going.
I would. Detroit. Yeah, that's the team I would rather. Unless we're playing somebody in the AFC South. But
all right, you got to look at it this way.
Yeah, but you would have to get to the.
I don't want to play the 2 seed, and that's the Eagles, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. You won't probably get to the 5 seed because that's going to be Dallas or Philly.
Yeah.
If you
need that,
do you want the 6 or the 7? Do you want to go to Philadelphia or San Francisco or Dallas?
Yeah.
Or do you want to go to Detroit? I'd rather go to Detroit and play Detroit because
I would too.
Yeah. So yeah.
To beat Detroit. So 2 weeks, I said this on the show Thursday. I said the Bears should have beat Detroit before Green Bay did. They had a 2-score. They were up 14, and the Lions came back and won. Green Bay beats them. Now last week they lose, or they beat the Saints. But that, you know what I mean. This is about 3 out of the last 4 weeks where they haven't looked great. And there was times in that Saints game they haven't looked great.
Right.
No, and their schedule down the stretch is not conducive to them.
Old coach once said, "Hey, we starting to smell ourselves a little bit," and I think the Lions were starting to smell themselves. And
and the thing about them too is, they're a bit of front runners as well. You know what I'm saying? They went down 10-0 early in this game, and they wound up coming back to go up 13-10 at halftime. But it just seemed like they were playing from behind the whole time, and they can't win that way. You know what I'm saying? They have to be able to run the ball, control the clock, and not ask Jared Goff to win you games. You just hope he doesn't lose you games. But then there's days that he plays like shit like today and throws those 2 picks and loses the game for you. But I don't know. I like some of the pieces on this Bears team. Again, I think with all the draft capital they have an opportunity to change things in 1 year, bro. If you have a good draft this year, a couple offensive linemen, a couple more defensive pieces to help that Bears team. I like Justin Fields, man. That might just be me.
Lions and Chiefs has lost 3 out of the last 4.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a Lions schedule down the stretch. You tell me which 4 games they could definitely win. They got Denver next week. That's not winnable.
I don't know. Right.
I don't know.
Is that game in Detroit? Where's that at?
It's in Detroit. It's in Detroit on Saturday night. I wouldn't say Detroit's going to win that game. Denver has got some serious momentum right now.
Yeah, they do.
At Minnesota. So
they beat Minnesota. Minnesota looks bad.
They should win that one. That was horrible, Minnesota today. That was disgusting.
At Dallas, I think they're going to lose to Dallas.
That's the L.
And then what could be for the division championship, they got Minnesota again. If they lose three games, the next 3 games going into that last game, Detroit may miss the playoffs.
They're lucky they're playing Minnesota twice. You're right, Andy.
Vikings.
That's going to save them because that'll get them their 11 wins. So even if they lose the other ones,
if
that'll get them their 11 wins, they'll win the division.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they'll block up their spot.
So you might want to block your ears, Nick, on this because I'm about to say something. If the Packers win this week and next week and Detroit loses to Denver, who knows with Green Bay could sneak in and win a division. They don't have
there's too many.
Still gonna do it.
Are they what 2.5 games back?
Yeah, we're too far back.
Game and a half. If they win,
is it a game and a half?
2 games out in the loss column.
Yeah,
Detroit's 9-4. Green Bay's.
But they don't play them again, do they?
Nah.
No, but if Detroit loses 3 games, Green Bay might have the tiebreaker over them.
Honestly, let's look at your Packers. You want to go to that Packer game?
The Packers don't play tomorrow night until tomorrow night.
You want to look at this remaining schedule?
Look at their remaining schedule. Nick,
it's easy. It's easy. The rest of the remaining schedule is the Giants, the Bucks, the Bears.
You guys can go on a little. Dude, wouldn't that be like talk about an epic collapse, bro? If the Lions were to lose the division.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think they will too. I think they put enough into the first half of their season to put them in a good spot.
It's weird because a couple of years ago they were so bad in the first half, even last year, so bad in the first half, and the second half of the season they were so hot. And this year,
True that, Alan. The Broncos, I think they've won 5 of 6 or 6 of 7, something like that.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that. You can't trust Kansas City.
That 70 burger woke them up, bro. That embarrassed.
I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought a couple? Right. You know what I mean? This is why it's kind of a marathon / sprint, but like, you can't get too. I know I get up and down all the time each week to each week.
It's football, man. It's once a week. So you have all week to think about it. So yeah, man, it's great. I'm telling you, it's so wide open this season, bro. It's crazy, bro. And that whole little nugget that I hope I didn't put it out into the universe about Buffalo getting the number 7 seed, and then. I mean, I need Miami to get the number 1 seed and just avoid Buffalo because Buffalo is one of those teams you do not want to play Buffalo in the playoffs.
Yeah. They got a tough schedule though. The Bills. We'll get to that game a little bit. Let's get into. Yeah. I think the shocker of the day, and that was the Jets 30-6 over the Texans. Jets get to 5-8, and the Texans in a game the Jags lose back to back. This is a game you could have won and then put yourself back in that division lead. Instead, they lose. C.J. Stroud gets hurt in this game, but before he got hurt, he just did not play well at all. 10-23 for 91 yards. Devin Singletary 13 carries for 65. I mean, there was just nothing of any sort of offense for the Texans. Zach Wilson looked, especially the second half of this game, looked like an actual NFL quarterback. 27-36, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns against what was supposed to be a good Texans defense. Brees Hall, 10 for 40 yards. Garrett Wilson, 9 for 108. Brees Hall also caught 8 balls for 86 and a touchdown. I'm not.
We told that guy to play Brees Hall, though, right?
Yeah.
Right,
we did. Johnny, we said a couple weeks ago, me and you said when everybody was kind of anointing this Texans team, we said, they'll lose a couple games they're supposed to win. Right. And this is exactly the reason.
Yeah, I mean, it was a complete downfall as far as the rain. So it was an ugly game up in New York. But that's signs of a young team. You have an opportunity to go into a building and a team against a team that's not very good.
Turmoil. You know what I mean?
Right. Like all kind. You know what I'm saying? They had opportunity to grab a hold. The Jaguars lost, so you could have. You could have been right there with Jacksonville, and you lay a complete egg. Shout out to Zach Wilson, played like a dog today. 27-36, 301, and 2 touchdowns. No interceptions, which is the biggest thing. He actually looked like an actual NFL quarterback. That defense played well. You mentioned the stats of Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall. So props to the Jets for, now, Jet fans, please don't all week start talking about y'all going to make a run because you're not.
We're going to make a run. Aaron's coming back, baby. That's what Jets fans are thinking. They're thinking after this one, Johnny.
Right. Nah, man. You took advantage of a young, up-and-coming Houston Texans
team, a hurt team, too. We don't take
They lost their quarterback in the game, too. So, enjoy this victory, but don't get carried away, Jets fans. But that was a big dud by the Texans, man. They had an opportunity, man, because a lot of teams fell this week, so the Texans could have put themselves right in there, but
to gain some ground on this wild. Yeah. They just made the wild card. Everything that the Bills needed to happen has happened. They beat the Chiefs, and everybody ahead of them has lost.
It's almost like 12 or 13 out of the 15 teams in the AFC are still in the hunt or something.
They are. It is. Bro. Nobody. The Patriots, Scott's Patriots, were the first team to be eliminated from the AFC. So there's that.
Right. Them in Carolina. That's about it.
Yeah,
we're gonna bring up old news for.
It's not. It happened today, Scott. That's today's news.
Yeah, no, hours ago. We're gonna bring up old news. But I'm really nervous for the Texans that they missed the playoffs here. I mean, they.
This is a game that they're gonna circle that could go back to bottom in the ass.
Yeah, if CJ Stroud is out next week, they play Tennessee. Davis Mills is not the quarterback I want. Quarterback of my team playing against Tennessee.
All right, but let's be real though. Let's say they crumble down the stretch here, don't make the playoffs, only win another game or two, wind up 8-9, or
it's still success.
It's still right. I think you found your guy. You know what I'm saying?
They built the foundation. We just needed to pump the brakes on CJ Stroud MVP talk. Yes. Like that all can. That's dead.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying. They should be excited about their future, no doubt. In Houston.
I mean, Johnny, you mentioned how tight the playoff race is. So, let's see, 3 through 5 are all 8-5, and then 6 through 11 are all 7-6.
Yeah.
Crazy, bro.
And those teams include, so like just the 8-5 teams are the Chiefs, Jacksonville, Browns. Then the 7-6 teams: Steelers, Indy, Houston, Denver, Cincinnati. I mean, what a surprising win they had. Again, Buffalo 7-6. Like,
yeah, dude.
I mean, they're all in it, maybe. It's. I mean, if you're one of them fans, you can wake up, even win or lose today. You're just like, shit, we got a chance, baby.
Right.
Hey, it's like that. It's like Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Absolutely, man. This is exactly what the NFL wants too, man.
Yeah.
For it to go into mid-December, and there's still a bunch of teams, vying for a possible playoff spot. So it's been a wild season. Again, I love these Sundays where my team either played already or they play tomorrow night, so I can just sit back, watch Red Zone, and enjoy it stress free. It was a lot of fun, man. There was a lot of cool games. That Rams-Ravens game was cool.
Yeah, that's the game I'm getting ready to talk about. So good segue, Johnny.
I try.
This is a while. The first team to win 10 games in the AFC is the Ravens. They win 37-31 on a punt return for a touchdown. This game was wild.
How fucking lucky are they, bro?
Yeah, exactly. Very lucky. Matthew Stafford, 23 of 41, 294 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kyron Williams, 25 carries, 114 yards. Cooper Kupp, best game of the year, 8 for 115 and a touchdown. Puka, 5 for 84. He made it. I was watching that game, and he made one of the most incredible catches late in that game to keep the Rams drive alive. Davis Allen, a touchdown. Then you get to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, it's not like he had a bad game. 24-43, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, did have a pick, ran for 70 yards. Is Odell coming alive? 4 for 97 and a touchdown. Isaiah Likely, 5 for 83 and a touchdown. Zay Flowers, 6 and 10 for a touchdown. Scott, it got a little shaky for the Ravens, but they somehow found a way to win in a game that I think a lot of people thought they could blow teams out, including yourself.
The Ravens wanted to give this game away today. I watched a lot of it. It's like, here, Matt, take it. No, I don't want it. You take. I mean, I'm worried the Ravens defense is starting to crack a little here. And against a good offensive team, I think they're going to have major problems on the defensive end against any team that makes the wild card here. Buffalo, that's a good offensive team. Houston, who can be a good offensive team. Any team that's good offensively, the Ravens are going to have problems. And that's a major, major stumbling block here. I mean, the Ravens can't put games away. They just can't do it. They don't want to do it. They get leads going into the fourth quarter. You seem like Lamar takes the team down the field, goes up 31-28, and then the defense just allows the Rams to come back down and kick a field goal to go to overtime.
Right. I mean, and if the Rams make another play or two, they score a touchdown and win that game. Yeah, they win that game. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Playing a great game. But yeah, Matt, like you mentioned, Matthew Stafford, great numbers.
Yep.
294, 3 touchdowns. That defense is gonna have to step it up for Baltimore to going down the stretch here. But they always find a way there at the end, man. It just seems like they just find a way to win a game.
That's the way of the game. I mean, you got to play your best in all 3 phases. Beat really good teams, especially a team like the Rams, where maybe they're not as talented. And
but the Rams, I'm telling you, if the Rams sneak into the playoffs, bro, they're gonna be a scary out for any NFC team. You know what I'm saying, that they play in that wild card game, man. Yeah. The Rams, especially.
This might be Sean McVay's best coaching job.
Stafford looks healthy. Cooper Kupp is getting healthy. Puka looks legit. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the Lamar Jackson, you mentioned Odell Beckham, 4 for 97. But since Andrews went out, it's like he's spreading the ball out to everybody else, which is cool. Odell had 4, Likely had 5 catches, Zay Flowers 6, Aguilar 5 catches, Bateman 2 catches. You know what I'm saying? So he spreads the ball out a lot more when he doesn't just always go to his safety blanket, which is Mark Andrews. So maybe that helps, you know what I'm saying, Lamar kind of, you know what I'm saying, spread the ball out a little bit more. Maybe he can make more plays that way. But he's something else, man, and they keep on winning, bro. So that game on New Year's is going to be really, really interesting when Miami goes up to Baltimore, man. That could be for the number 1 seed.
That's for the number 1 seed. Right? It could be them. Yeah. Who's going to be able to claim it at home? It'll be interesting. They had a wild ass game last year. Remember, wasn't that was kind of like the
51-49?
Yeah, it was the second week of the season, 2 through 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was like Tua's big like breakout game. Yeah, they were down in that game, and then they just absolutely just started.
But I will say this about the Week 16 game: 4 weeks ago, you would have said, "Oh, Miami's going to have a tough time against that defense." Now I don't think so, because I think that defense is starting to crumble a little bit, and I think Miami's got enough offensive weapons on that team to give serious problems to the Ravens defense. Right. I like Miami going into Baltimore winning that game.
Yeah,
I do.
Again, honestly, bro, looking at the schedule, the only game that honestly like worries me. I mean, Dallas should be an interesting one at home, but it's gonna be fucking Buffalo. I think Miami can go into Baltimore and win that game in Baltimore. But that Week 18 game against, I'm hoping Miami has everything wrapped up and good to go, and hopefully our backups can knock Buffalo out of the playoffs. But you're saying that Buffalo game worries me, but I think the Dolphins can definitely go into Baltimore and win a game there.
Yep. Yeah, let's get into the next. The worst quarterback in the NFL's team, according to Scott Cope, Derek Carr and the Saints. They win 28-6. Bryce Young, 13 for 36, 135 yards. Chuba Hubbard, 23-87. I mean, the Panthers suck. We all know that. The Saints, they won a game against the bad team. 18-26, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Alvin Kamara, 12 for 56 and a touchdown. Chris Olave did have 4 for 28 and a touchdown. Jimmy Graham caught a touchdown pass, folks, in this game. So what year was it with
I couldn't even remember. I didn't even know he was still in the league, bro.
He was out for a little bit and then has come back and is now back in the league. So Johnny, any thoughts here on the Saints? I guess they can still maybe possibly win this. Nobody wants to win NFC.
Hey, Johnny, before you go, hey Alan, stop giving away what's going on in the game. Okay.
Yeah, bro. You're saying we're doing a show here. We're trying to be professional and not have the TV on in the background.
I want to know.
You're saying so we don't need to know.
I do want to know. I don't really want to know. I got the game on, so I can look up and watch it.
But Alan's giving us play-by-play highlights in the chat.
Yeah, we'll have time to talk about it after the show when me and Alan do the roundup show.
Alan just wants to know everybody's Cowboys are a good team this year. That's it.
They are a good team, man.
Oh,
they are a good team. Dak could be MVP.
But no, as far as Saints and Panthers, bro, I mean that NFC South is beyond horrible. You're saying it doesn't seem like anybody really wants it. But the Panthers are just that bad of an organization, a team. Bryce Young didn't look good. You're saying so the Saints took advantage of a lesser team and handled their business at home, did what they had to do, and now there's a 2-3-way tie for first place at 6-7. Which is insane. And I think Tampa has like the lead because of whatever.
Their game. We'll talk about their
whatever.
Game
but the Saints, I mean, okay, you beat the Panthers at home. I mean, you're saying like you can't get no major props or anything for that. You're saying you did what you were supposed to do against a horrible team.
Scott, any thoughts here to add on Saints Panthers?
Derek Carr, you're awful. He tried to get Chris Olave killed when he threw his touchdown pass. Chris Olave caught the ball. As soon as he caught the ball, he turned to go in the end zone, and there was a guy that just smacked him. I'm surprised Olave got up. You got a talent like Chris Olave, and he catches 4 balls for 28 yards. And what the heck? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You throw the ball down the field to Olave. Stop throwing these 3-yard
I don't think he could. I think he's too hurt.
I know. Come on. Dennis Allen, put Jameson. You got a chance to win. Let Jameis throw it down the field. That's what I'm saying.
The thing about Carr too is that he ain't trying to get hit either. You know what I'm saying? Right. That he's that hurt that he ain't trying to get hit, so he's trying to get that ball out as quick as possible, even if
I think some of his stuff, I wonder if some of his contract that they have to look into it is
about how many plays, how much
like his
incentive based.
Because he's out there and a couple games he probably shouldn't have played and he's out there playing.
I think he's afraid if he gets hit and gets tackled, he's going to get another concussion. So let me get rid of the ball. And he took 2 intentional grounding penalties today that, as the game was going on early, were important. because they set him back 10 yards and they lost the down. So Derek Carr's got to do a better job of 1, 2, 3, boom, gone.
Right. He saw what happened to his brother. I mean, his brother took an ass whooping as a Houston Texans, and you know what I'm saying, he's gotten beat up a lot too. You know what I'm saying, at the quarterback position. So he don't look like he's trying to get hit at all. So that's why he's checking everything down right away.
Yeah, let's stay in the AFC South for the the winner of this game took over sole possession. There was 25 points scored in this game in the fourth quarter, and that's the Falcons and the Bucks. Falcons would go down, take the lead. Buccaneers, kudos to Baker, led the game-winning drive. And then on the last play, I don't know what the Falcons were doing. Last play of the game, you need a touchdown, and you throw the ball about 4 yards short of the end zone. So that made absolutely no fucking sense,
right?
As time expired. So Baker Mayfield, 144, 2 touchdowns. Rashad White's coming on, 25, 102 yards. Not a good game for Mike Evans, only 1 catch. So good kudos for Atlanta's defense, holding to Mike Evans for 1 catch. Desmond Ridder, 20 of 40, 347 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Tyler Algier, 9 for 40. Bijan, 10 for 34 and a touchdown. Drake London, he had a huge game. Johnny, you said, where is he? He came off the milk carton, 10 for 172. He made some incredible catches in that game as well. Kyle Pitts, 3 for 57. Scott, who the hell's winning this damn division? Because it seems like 1 week the Falcons beat the Saints, then they got a chance to beat the Bucks. The Bucks win. Next week the fucking Bucks will probably lose to the Saints. That's how it just seems.
Johnny,
who's winning this thing? Nobody wants to win it.
It's either Tampa or Atlanta. I can't think New Orleans is going to win it. They have too many problems right now. But in that division, if you tomorrow you were to tell me the Falcons were going to win, the next day you tell me the Bucks are going to win it, I'd be like, okay, fine. That's who's going to win it.
Right.
Tampa's got all the talent in the world on offense. They got a really good running back in Rashad White, 1 solid wide receiver in Godwin, 1 superstar in Evans, and the tight end showed, and they passed through to the tight end today, and he showed up with a touchdown and a couple catches. I think Tampa Bay's going to win it. That's my opinion.
The Bucks got a little. I don't know. They got the Packers next weekend. They could win that game in all honesty, but I would pick the Packers. Packers are just playing better. And then they got the Jaguars. Again,
that's a winnable game.
Who knows?
You never know.
Who knows with them? That game's in Tampa, so the Jags usually play pretty good on the road. But then they got the Saints, so then they got the Panthers. So it's again, you just don't know what Bucks team is going to show up. It's so hard to say, yeah, this team's going to beat them or they can beat that team because you just don't fucking know with these teams.
Right. And the other thing is, tell me what Falcons team's going to show up. I mean, that's the thing. Tell me what Saints team is going to tell me what,
Atlanta has the Colts who are playing for okay, so Atlanta has the Panthers next week. They should win that game.
They should win that one, yeah.
Yeah. And then they got the then they got the Colts. I mean, who knows?
That'll be a tough game. Yeah.
That's a tough game. They got the Bears. The Bears, I think, could beat them the way the Bears are playing.
Yep.
And then they got the Saints.
So that they're all going to beat up on each other. It's basically the race to 9. The race to see who gets to 9 wins.
And
I wouldn't think anybody's going to get to 9. I'd say 8 and 9 wins the division.
So the Saints, they have the hardest schedule ahead. I mean, I don't know. Because, again, they got the Giants next week. That's a winnable game. I would pick them to lose to the Rams. Then again, the last 2 weeks, they got the Bucks and then the Falcons.
Yep. Well, I mean, so I guess.
I mean, those last 2 weeks are going to just, you know what I mean?
I guess
it's like a round robin those last 2 weeks, too.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I guess whoever wins it is going to.
Whoever wins the round robin.
Sort of, right, because they're all playing each other. But the Atlanta Falcons, like, I don't understand. Like, why does it take half the game before you realize that you got Bijan? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Bijan should just be featured all the time in this offense. And it's like they're so determined to, like, make Desmond Ridder that dude. And yeah, he had a nice game, 347, but an ugly pick. But Bijan, like, I would give him as many touches as possible, bro. He's a playmaker. And they're supposed to have a pretty good defense, but they just completely gave it up to, even though they did good against Mike Evans.
There's only one thing you know about that whole division. You know what? Carolina stinks. Outside of that, you're like the other three teams. They're not good, but they're not dog shit, but they're just a grade above dog shit.
I have a solution. Let's move Dallas to the NFC South. Let's move the Panthers up to the NFC East. Dallas wins the division. They're one of the top 4 seeds.
Yeah.
And Philly wins their division. That's what should happen. Just move the Cowboys to the South. Because really, do you want any of these teams in the playoffs? They just fought for the Cowboys or the Eagles. They really
they're gonna host a playoff game at that,
right? Which is ridiculous. Dallas or Philly, who's going to win 12 or 13 games, you're going to send them to Atlanta or Tampa Bay.
You get slaughtered
to play an 8 or a 9 game. I think one of them gets to 9, and it'll be 9 and 8. But
I don't know. I don't know. These teams are so bad. It might be 7-10 that wins the division. That's how bad they are.
I mean, that would be.
It's just a round robin. Like it's just every week they just, you can't figure them out. Johnny, you said, hey, Minshew's going to have a Minshew game eventually today. It wasn't a bad game, but he didn't play great either. Bengals win 34-14 to the Bengals back in this playoff race. I mean, everybody in the world left them for dead when Joe Burrow got hurt. And they've won back-to-back games. This Jake Browning kid played really well until then he got hurt. He was 18-24, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, 29 of 79 yards and a touchdown. Chase Brown, 8 for 25 as well. Chase Brown caught 3 balls for 80 yards and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 2 for 72. Jamar Chase, only 3 catches as well. Gardner went 26 to 39, 240 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 13 for 28 for Zach Moss. Seems like that he had that good couple of games without, with Taylor before Taylor came back in. He just hasn't worked as well back. Michael Pittman, 8 for 95. Man, again, another game where it seems like if the Colts could just put them away here, Johnny, they could, entrench themselves and, take a lead in this playoff race. But here come the Bengals after being left for dead.
Yeah, I mean, so is there going to start being talk about how any quarterback can run this offense in Cincinnati because the way this kid is balling out? I'm sorry, that only happens in Miami. My bad. But no, the Browning kid is playing well. They got playmakers all over the field. Joe Mixon, they're featuring him a lot more with Joe Burrow being out, which is a good thing. He's a really good back.
And that Chase Brown kid, Chase has come.
Yeah, dude. I'm so mad at myself. I almost picked him up in fantasy because I was like, well, he should have a good game because they've been splitting it with him or whatever. He seems to have a good thing with Browning. I did it, and he goes off today. Damn. Anyway, but no, the Browning kid is playing well. Their defense is playing well. You know what I'm saying? Gardner Minshew didn't have a horrible game, but he didn't have another 300-something yard, 3 touchdowns like he's had the last couple weeks. So this was a game that I thought Indy would be a lot more competitive in the game, but Cincinnati completely put it on them. And they're one of the 47 teams that are 7-6 in the AFC. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes down the stretch, man. Every game is gonna have something of importance to it, which is awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, that Chase Brown, when he gets in the open field, he's tough.
Quick, bro. He's quick.
Yeah.
54-yard touchdown catch. He got that ball, and it was like, find the hole and just go.
I don't know why they didn't use him so much. I know, Scott, like, to me, I was drafting that guy late, like my last pick a lot in fantasy this year, and then, like, he just wasn't getting, playing time, so he had to drop him because he wasn't worth it. But now you're like, shit, I should have almost kept him.
I said it on another podcast before the season started that people might want to go after Chase Brown because he could be the Samaje Perine to Joe Mixon's Joe Mixon, and the Bengals are starting to do that now with him. And a little too late. It should have happened like 4 or 5 weeks ago, but I mean the Bengals they could get in the playoffs. Jake Browning, if he's fine, if he's not,
looked pretty capable in 2 games. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just worried.
I'm just worried about that injury
out there. I'm just worried about that injury. I mean, I don't know how serious it is. I don't know if it's a dislocated finger or whatever it is, But if you stick AJ McCarron out there,
AJ McCarron, XFL MVP this past year for the St. Louis Battlehawks, baby.
Hasn't he played in the NFL before and he just failed miserably?
Right, he was never a starter. He was always a backup.
No, he came in for a couple games, but he didn't do anything. The Bengals need Jake Browning to be out there because he gives them a better chance to win than AJ McCarron. But I'm highly impressed with what the Bengals are doing. Everybody left them for dead after, as you said, after Burrow's injury, and they played really well the last 2 weeks. They beat the Jags and the Colts. So, yeah.
Another guy who, let me ask you guys this: if you're the Browns, do you just say, Joe Flacco, we want you to be our quarterback going forward? He's looked better than Deshaun Watson. They win 31-27 today. Flacco goes 26 of 45, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Best quarterback in the NFL.
Jerome Elite. Kareem Hunt, 10 carries for 27 yards and a touchdown. David Njoku, 6 for 91, 2 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, 7 for 77. On one leg, Trevor Lawrence, not great today. 28 of 50, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. ETN, 14 carries for 35 yards and a touchdown. Evan Ingram, 11 for 95 and 2 touchdowns. Hopefully that guy – did we tell that guy to play Evan Ingram this morning? Because I think we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Yep, we did.
So, you guys' thoughts here? I mean, is it Flacco? I mean, I know we said somebody said, or one of you guys said earlier that they already said Flacco going to start the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Flacco's looked better than Deshaun Watson.
This shows you that a quarterback that doesn't overthink it on the field and just doesn't care and just throws the ball and lets it go. Because when he threw the pick early in the game, he walked over the sidelines. He didn't throw his helmet down. He took his helmet off, placed it on the thing in back of the bench, and sat down. That's the type of quarterback the Browns needed. They didn't need an athletic freaking DTR who could just run around and avoid sacks. Right. They needed a Joe Flacco, and he's been great over the last 2 weeks. He's done a phenomenal job. I'm shout out to Bobby G. I think the Browns are going to make the playoffs simply because Joe Flacco is their quarterback. And
I mean, that defense. I mean, it's that they're led by the defense. But I said that this morning. I said this is a perfect Joe Flacco situation. Yep. They got a decent running game. They got a really good wide receiver, Amari Cooper. Njoku's a really good tight end. Elite defense. Joe, just go out there, try not to turn the ball over, and just play really good football. Play decent football. Much like he did with the Ravens. Throw it deep to Amari and underneath to Njoku. We're going to run the ball with Ford and Hunt and see what happens.
Well, I mean, his experience is
today, before Johnny goes, that the Cleveland Browns are looking for the best massage parlors in the country to trade Deshaun to. So.
Deshaun will be the guy.
That contract.
Nobody. Yeah, Deshaun will be there next year.
Yeah,
but I think Joe Flacco was exactly what they needed: a veteran quarterback who understands the game, understands how to read defenses, is going to take what the defense gives them. They're not asking him to win the game for them; they're asking him to not lose the game. You say make a play here, play or two here or there. They got that defense. They got some good running backs. David Njoku remembered how to catch the ball this week, made some plays. Amari Cooper's out there. And Joe Flacco, I mean, he has nothing to lose. So he's out there. He's playing loose. He's enjoying himself. That's another team because of that defense. That's going to be a scary out when they make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they're going to be one of the ones in the playoffs. That's why that Baltimore game was huge. Baltimore winning that game because Cleveland is right behind them.
Yeah.
But Jacksonville is just talk about just disappointment, man. Jacksonville just they can't come through in a big game. You know what I'm saying? You're going up against an 84-year-old Joe Flacco. I don't even know how much pressure they even put on him. The Jacksonville's defense supposed to be much improved this year, and they just let the Browns drop 31 on them like nothing. So props to Joe Flacco for doing what he had to do and having a great game. And, Cleveland just keeps on chugging along, man. Good defense and a running game travels. So they can go anywhere with that. And they got a veteran quarterback, running the show for them. So I like where Cleveland's at right now. Jacksonville, luckily they're in the division they're in. But if not, they would be in a little bit of trouble there. But the Texans losing and the Colts losing, Jacksonville, doesn't lose any ground. Even after this loss here, but they definitely need Trevor Lawrence to get healthy because even though he had the 3 touchdowns, those 3 picks were horrible. So Shout out to Bobby G and the Dog Pound. Cleveland's playing good football right now.
Yeah. We get to the Browns, or we get to the Seahawks, 49ers. 49ers are absolutely, folks, are the best team in football. Their best is, to me, beats everybody else's best. They win 28-16 to get to 10-3. Seahawks fall to 6-7. One game below 500. Drew Lock started this game for the Seahawks. They hung around for a little bit, 22 or 31, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Charbonnet went 9 for 44. Tyler Lockett, 6 for 89. DK had 2 for 52 and a touchdown. We get to everybody in this 49ers offense did something today. Brock Purdy, 19 of 27, 368 yards, 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, 16 for 145. Debo, 7 for 149 and a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk, 6 for 126. George Kittle, 376 and a touchdown. Scott, this is the best team in the NFL. Their best is better than everybody else's best.
They're the best team in the NFL. It's not by far. It's them in Miami right now. Philadelphia has a lot of flaws on defense. So, Brock Purdy, he's amazing. He does this week in, week out, over and over again. Doesn't care who he's throwing it to. He's the MVP of the league right now, in my mind. He is. Every game he played, when McCaffrey went for that 73-yard run to open the game, I said, Seattle's in trouble. Complete trouble. And sure enough, San Francisco, I think, said, we're going to play around with them for a little bit earlier in the game. And then when push came to shove, San Francisco just buried them. So, yeah, I think they're the number 1 seed in the NFC, and I think they're going to Super Bowl out of the NFC right now. I can't see anybody beating them.
I had that at the beginning of the year.
Yep, you did. Good call. So I had Seattle. It's not such a good call anymore. So
yes, they're definitely the best team in the NFC. Probably the best team in the league. They just have weapons all over the place. I like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is playing well, but he also had 19 completions for 368 yards. And just real quick, Debo, 7 for 149, an average of 21.3. Ayuk, 6 for 126, an average of 21. George Kittle, 3 for 76, an average of 25.3. If you watch the game, how many of those are short passes and the guys are making plays?
A little bit of both. Yeah.
It showed a lot in this game in particular. I mean, that first play by McCaffrey, he went buck. You know what I'm saying? So Brock Purdy is doing exactly what he's being asked to do, which is run that offense, get the ball to his playmakers. Yes, he's playing great point guard. You know what I'm saying? But that overall team is just better than everybody. You know what I'm saying? When you go to the defensive side of the ball, them getting Chase Young for a bag of footballs and tees is insane to me.
They're tough to beat.
Yeah, they are tough to beat. You're gonna, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna beat themselves. You're gonna have to beat San Francisco to win that game. You're gonna earn it when you play San Francisco for sure. So that's gonna be an interesting one there. I like Brock Purdy. I think he's playing well. You know what I'm saying? He ain't like, you know what I'm saying? He's putting up dominant numbers because he's got a dominant team around him, but it's not like, because I watched a good amount of that game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's I don't know. I mean, Debo is like, he has to be like the hardest person in the NFL to tackle, bro. Like it seems like people just bounce.
He runs angry though too. The way
he does, man.
The nickname Debo
definitely fits him.
Yeah,
definitely fits him. Yeah,
but here's the thing with the Purdy thing. Why I say he's MVP. If you've looked at the last 4 years of MVPs, everybody's argument was, well, he just throws it short, and these guys run after the catch. Patrick Mahomes, 51% of his yards last year were after the catch.
Uh-huh.
If you go back in time, I saw this on a show called Follow the Money, which is a betting show on TV up here, but they've looked at the last MVPs. All of those last 4 MVPs, the yards after catch were over 51% of the quarterback's yards. So Purdy's not doing anything that Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, all these teams do. They throw it short, and these guys run after the catch.
That's why they're talented,
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I think Brock Purdy is in a good spot now to win MVP because San Francisco is going to get the number 1 seed, most likely, and usually the MVP comes off of one of those teams, 1 or 2 seed. And right now, Jalen Hurts is not MVP caliber. Lamar Jackson is not MVP caliber. I think it's Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott. I think those are the only 2 left that you're looking at right now.
See, so, I would argue that Tua should be in that argument, but they're not going to give it to him because of Tyreek. Because I said, and I said it before the season started, that there's no way in the world that they will give Tua the MVP because you know what I'm saying Tua is doing just as well as them, except he throws the ball down the field, but yet everything is Tyreek. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying, but. I'm hoping for a rematch of 84, so Miami can get their revenge for that 84 Super Bowl when Joe Montana beat Dan Marino.
Yep.
We get into a game where no MVP is being played, and that's Vikings Raiders. Quick note: so we don't even need to list any stats in this game because there was no stats. Josh Dobbs did get benched. That's we were watching this game on Red Zone, so obviously it wasn't too much on Red Zone, and it's nothing. My wife goes, "What the fuck is going on there? 0-0 in the fourth quarter?" She's like, "I was like, yeah." She's like, "They didn't kick a fucking field goal." I was like, obviously not, dear. It's 0-0. She's like, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, they didn't even get close enough to kick a field goal to make one. Vikings win 3-0. There's no need to talk about this game. Vikings are dead.
Keep going. You know how these teams do team bonding things? My feeling is the Vikings did a team bonding thing to either casinos or strip clubs in Vegas because they didn't show up today.
Remember a while this was back in like the Dante Culpepper days. They went on a boat. Remember that? You guys remember that? There's like this big ordeal. I think Darren Sharper was part of that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. I remember that.
Well.
Yep. Yep. And, I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go with this game because the Raiders are awful. The Vikings, Josh Dobbs obviously has played like Josh Dobbs. He plays really well. There's a reason
he's a dirty man backup, everybody. Like,
right. They might put Nick Mullins next week. They might put Nick Mullins in there next week.
Yeah. And more importantly, Justin Jefferson got hurt too in this game.
Yeah, dude. Like
he went to the hospital, so
I understand they were 7-5, and you were saying you want to bring your best player back or whatever, but I don't know, man. That was about as disgusting. I'm glad I was watching Red Zone because I barely saw anything of this game. The only thing just towards the end there when they were talking about this could be the first time in NFL history that a game will go into overtime with both teams being 0-0.
0-0.
I was pulling for that. I was hoping it would happen.
I was hoping it could be a 0-0 tie. Right. Like just let it be 0-0. Fucking soccer score, baby.
Yeah, there were 2 games 0-0 at halftime today. The Texans Jets was 0-0 at halftime too. I mean, first time in 4 years. Any game's gone 0-0 at halftime. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, Minnesota has a winning record. I mean, but
they're
not very good. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So,
who had thought that they wish they had Kirk Cousins back at their as their quarterback?
Right.
I mean,
yeah. Kirk Cousins in a wheelchair would have been better than Josh Dobbs was today, I think.
Hey, speaking of that, one of the hottest teams in the NFL, is anybody hotter than the Denver Broncos? Remember they were 0-5, and now they're 7-6. I mean,
the Dolphins might be the only team that's hotter than them right now.
Yeah. They went 24-7 over the Chargers. Russ Wilson, 21-33, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. I will say Justin Herbert did get hurt in this game. Javonte Williams, 17 for 66 and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton, 3 for 62 and a touchdown. We get to the Chargers again. Herbert got hurt in this game, so they brought in Easton Stick, who I'd never fucking heard of, and he threw the ball like like a guy with stick hands would throw it. Austin Eckler 10 to 51 yards and a touchdown. Quentin Johnson 3 for 91, and that was pretty much it. Keenan Allen 6 for 68. Chargers, we know season's dead. Scott, can the Broncos though? Are they a playoff team? Who would have thought that?
If they win in Detroit next week, Saturday night, yes, they are. They have to win in Detroit next Saturday night for me to believe in them, because Detroit will be mad coming home. Jared Goff's a different quarterback at home than he is on the road. I think if Denver goes in there and they can cause Detroit some problems and they win that game, they're going to make the playoffs. So I'm just highly impressed with what the Denver's done all year after that pounding that Miami gave them. So kudos to Sean Payton. He's the NFL Coach of the Year in my eyes right now. So.
It's like a girl. She took a beating. She laid down and took a beating, and then she found a groove after that. You know what I mean?
I'm back. And the other thing is, before Johnny goes, kudos to Russell Wilson. He was left for dead, and he's led that team to 6 wins out of the last 7.
They got to win it. The Broncos have a favorable schedule after the Lions game.
Yep.
They got the Lions. Then they got the Patriots. That's a winnable game, obviously. They just beat the Chargers. They play them again. And then they got the Raiders.
Right.
They could win out. They could win all 4 of those games out and win out.
They could win all 4 of those games, win out. Yeah. And the way Kansas City is playing right now, wouldn't that be crazy if Denver overtook them for the division? And not only does Patrick Mahomes have to travel in the playoffs, but he has to be a wild card team.
Oh, yeah, that'd be wild.
That would be some crazy shit. Props to Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. I made the comment several weeks ago that, even though Miami put that 70 on him, Russell was actually having a good game. He actually hasn't played horribly. That was a horrible pick he threw last week or the week before, where he just threw that interception in the end zone that just cost them the game. But their defense is coming alive. The Chargers suck. And I know Herbert got hurt in this game, but even before he went out, 9 of 17, 96 yards and a pick. Like, I don't know what's happening to the Chargers. They're a horrible team.
Is Kellen Moore the problem? Because, I mean, you're looking at Dak Prescott putting up an MVP-type season a year after Dak leaves, and it looks like Herbert has regressed under Kellen Moore. That Chargers offense definitely has.
Something, because everybody wants to point at Staley, but he's not the one in control of that offense, and they look like horse. They look horrible. Like that offense is just horrible looking. They've got all these names all over the place on both sides of the ball, but their defense can't stop anybody. So yeah, shout out to this was more about Denver putting it on a bad Chargers team than it is about the Chargers. They're just garbage. The Broncos are making a push, and they're another one that's going to be a scary out if they're able to make the playoffs. And again, if Kansas City ain't careful, you read off.
And we'll look at the Chiefs schedule here in just a minute.
If Denver could win 3 out of the last 4, or even go 4-0, that's 11 wins, man. That might win the division.
Who would have thought?
They're only one game back. They're only one game back to Kansas City right now.
Who would have thought?
So I know the Chiefs had the Raiders and the Chargers coming up, so that those are easily winnable games for them.
Well, yeah, we'll look at the next.
Here's what I would say if I'm Justin Herbert: put me on the IR. I'm done. I don't want to play.
I mean, what's the point? What's the point? Risk him getting hurt worse?
I don't know.
You already gave him his bag. You already gave his bag. He signed for the next 4 years. Just put him on ice. Tell him to get ready. You know what I'm saying? You might as well lose the rest of these and get a good draft pick and draft another wide receiver.
Brandon Staley's just collecting a paycheck right now. He's a dead coach walking. I mean, he's got to be fired. He should have been fired already, but you can't put Kellen Moore on the head coaching job because he's basically ruined that franchise too. So
they need to clean house.
Let's get into another wild game, and maybe the game of the day, and that was Bills Chiefs. Bills win 20-17. Josh Allen 23 of 42, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but he made some incredible plays with his legs, his arm throw, some of his throws down there. James Cook 10 for 58. Josh Allen ran in for a touchdown. James Cook caught a touchdown. Stephon Diggs 4 for 24. Dalton Kincaid 5 for 21. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes 25 of 43, 271 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. CEH, sorry everybody, we told to play CEH 11 carries for 39 yards. Rashee Rice had himself a game, 7 for 72.
Hey, we said to play him.
Travis Kelce 6 for 83. This game, here was the thing: was the Bills had the lead. Chiefs score a game-winning touchdown, and then come to find out Kadarius Toney was offsides on the game-winning touchdown. Bills win 20-17. Scott, we'll ask Tanner tomorrow, obviously on the LTS show. But it's panic time for the Chiefs here.
Yeah, I mean their defense did about as well as they could, holding Josh Allen and James Cook and that team down. Diggs had a terrible game again. I'm really worried about Diggs in terms of what's going on there. Gabe Davis didn't catch a pass. So Kansas City held the best two Bills wide receivers supposedly to 4 catches for 24 yards today. And the offense for Kansas City did almost nothing. They ran the ball. See, I looked at the stats in the first quarter. CH had 4 carries for 21 yards in the first quarter. And then they didn't give him the ball hardly the rest of the game. Andy Reid's got to change his playbook now. He's got to run the ball. They can't pass the ball.
It looks like Matt Nagy and the Bears to me.
Yeah,
they abandoned the run so quick,
they do.
And put it completely on Patrick Mahomes' shoulders to win every game. And I mean, I know Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and he's the best quarterback in the league. He's not having the best season though, to be quite honest. I know everybody's gonna say, "Oh, well, his wide receivers can't." You know what I'm saying? At the same time, he can make some better decisions or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, I mean, that fumble just completely killed him, that Rashid Rice fumble there. But,
yeah,
I mean, this is what's scary about the Buffalo Bills is Josh Allen could win any particular game at any point in time, either with his legs or with his arm. They finally realized that James Cook is a baller and got him the ball more than 5 times in a game. So props to Buffalo for figuring that out finally. But I made the comment, I don't know if it was earlier this week or last week, but this is the year Kansas City could get got this year.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's another reason why I'm saying like it just feels so wide open in this, in the AFC, not only in the AFC, but in the whole NFL this year, where, you know what I'm saying, somebody can easily make a run to a Super Bowl this year, because I don't see Kansas City being their old dominant self, not at all.
I mean, Chiefs can say what they want. But Tony was offside. Look at the fucking video.
He was offside. They need to stop worrying about the refs and just play better football. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Run the ball a little more. How about that?
Yeah. I watched the play before we started the show, and he lined up offsides. He was offsides. Yeah. Simple put.
The Chiefs' remaining schedule is pretty favorable. They probably should win out. They got the Patriots next week. They stink. The Raiders, we know they stink. The Bengals is an interesting one because the Bengals they're gonna need that game, and then they got the Chargers. They stink. So maybe they win out. Maybe they lose one of those games.
As strange as this sounds, if any team puts 24 up against Kansas City, they're in trouble. They're in trouble.
Yeah,
they can't score 24 points.
And if you think back, they almost lost to the Jets. I mean, if it wasn't for the fumble by Tyreek, the fumble return for a touchdown, we would have got Kansas City.
It reminds me, the Chiefs remind me of the Packers last year, where it's like everything just seems as a struggle. Like in the passing game, everything's sure they find ways to win these close games, but like everything's just a struggle. Like everything's just, it's like there's no big plays. It's just everything's a struggle.
I mean, and that don't mean that once the playoffs start, I'm not gonna, like it wouldn't surprise me if Kansas City made a run through the playoffs and then they're in the fucking Super Bowl because that's Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? But they just don't seem like that team this year, man. They don't.
But again, if in the play, they're gonna be the 3 seed. Okay, it's gonna be Miami, Baltimore, and then them in some sort of fashion. If Cleveland makes it and they play Kansas City, can Cleveland beat them? Sure.
Yeah.
If Buffalo makes it and Buffalo plays them, can they beat them? Sure.
They just did. Yeah.
So right now they are the 3 seed. They would be the 3 seed.
Right.
So what would they play? The 6 seed then?
Yeah.
6 seed. Yep.
Because the 5 seed plays the 4, and then
5 seed is Cleveland, I think.
Yeah. The 1 seed is off. It's 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5.
Yep.
4, 5. Yeah, so 3, 7. So they play 3,
6.
3, 6. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so they would play Pittsburgh right now.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, but Pittsburgh.
But I would think I don't think Pittsburgh's making it. They're
I don't. These are the 3 teams they probably will play. Either Houston.
They could play the Bills again.
Yeah.
Houston, Buffalo, or
Cincinnati, maybe.
Cincinnati. One of those three teams are going to play in the first round, I think.
Or Cleveland.
Yeah.
I think Cleveland's going to be the 5. I think
Cleveland's, it could be the 5.
Yeah. So
who knows? I mean, who knows? We don't know each week.
Right.
That's the thing. Is like each week, the only team you know that's really certain is the fucking 49ers. Outside of that,
nothing certain.
They're the only team that you're like, they make everybody else's like, they just make it look easy. Everybody else seems to have some sort of weakness or stronghold, something, shit. Who knows? It'll be interesting this last month of the season.
It's been a fun season, man. It's a fun season.
It is. Bro. Yeah. There is nobody breaking through. Let's go ahead. We'll get into our dogs and turds of the week. Johnny, we'll start with your turd of the week.
My turd of the week, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Mr. Jared Goff. 20 of 35, 161, 1 touchdown, 2 horrible interceptions. You have an opportunity to put a stranglehold on not only that division, but an opportunity to go after the number 1 seed. And now you're starting to fall apart. It's been a couple weeks in a row now where you haven't played good football. But Jared Goff just cannot play outside of the confines of whatever the hell Detroit Stadium is called now. But Jared Goff out in the still Ford Field. Jared Goff out in the elements is not the same player. Shout out to Chicago, Justin Fields for putting it on them, but he just had a horrible day. Did not give his team an opportunity to win. Not 1, but 2 big interceptions. So Jared Goff is my turd of the week.
Scott, turd of the week.
Alan took mine. It's the Houston Texans. You play a really good first half on defense, and then the second half you allow Zach Wilson, who, he didn't want to start. He didn't want to play quarterback. He was afraid he was going to get injured. He went in. First half, he looked like garbage like he was before. And then all of a sudden, the Texans decided, you know what? We're going to take him lightly in the second half. We'll just score a touchdown and win the game. And they allow the Jets to go up and down the field on them and not put up a fight, so to speak. And the Jets won the game easily in the second half, 30-6, because it was 0-0 at halftime. When you need to win the game for playoff positioning and seeding, and you go into New York and you lose the game, that spells doom and gloom for me in terms of making the playoffs. Again, they've had a great season, successful, everything else as we talked about in the beginning of the show. But you need to win games like that. And they Tank Dell injury, I didn't think would affect him as much as it did, but now CJ Stroud is a concussion. So who knows if he plays next week. So my turn of the week is the Houston Texans.
Yeah, that amazing story is coming down to earth pretty hard right now.
That was my one too, but I got another one too, and it's it's none other than the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, you lose 3-0. 0 points. It's 2023 where it's damn near pretty much easy at least to score 3 points in a game, and you couldn't even score 3 points. The game is literally tailored for offense, and you got offensive weapons: Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, and yet you couldn't find the end zone. You couldn't even find a field goal or a safety. You put up a whopping 0 points, and it's not like Minnesota's the 85 Bears. The Las Vegas Raiders are my NFL Week 14 turd of the week.
There were a bunch. They're definitely well deserved right there, man. There were a bunch of them, but for Mrs. Bodkins to be like, what the fuck is going on here with this team? And then there was a couple turds out there with both teams, man.
Scott, we'll start with you. Who's your dog of the week?
So I had said Deebo Samuel before the show, and I'm going to change it because you guys reminded me with Deebo last week. I'm going to go with Joe Flacco. Coming off was that yours, Johnny?
No, that's fine. I got another one.
Okay. Okay.
That's fine.
He was on the couch 3 weeks ago, short as 3 weeks ago. Got signed by the Browns. Goes out, throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against a division-leading Jacksonville Jaguars team. Nick's gone. I drove Nick away. For us to see Joe Flacco play like Joe Flacco did back in his Baltimore Ravens days, he's going to lead the Browns to the playoffs. And whoever thought at the beginning of the season that Joe Flacco was going to do this or even be signed by a team? So 306, 3 touchdowns. He made David Njoku look like he was the best tight end in the NFL. Travis Kelce in Cleveland. So my dog of the week is Joe Flacco.
Johnny, who's your dog of the week?
Yeah, I was leaning towards Joe Flacco. I mean, I love the story. Like Scott mentioned, him coming off the couch. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Mr. Mom Chaser himself, Mr. Zach Wilson.
Woo!
27 to 36, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Beating up on a Houston Texas team that everybody was all impressed with, and clamoring about going into this week. And Zach Wilson had a hell of a game. I mean, you could pick anybody, any skill position player from San Francisco, because they all went off. But I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Zach Wilson with all the drama this week about him not wanting to play, which I understood. You know what I'm saying? The team gave up on him, but he came ready to play. He actually looked like a really good NFL quarterback. I think this is one of only 2, or this may even be his first 300-yard game. But shout out to Zach Wilson for holding it down and giving the New York Jets some false hope, so that all week I'm gonna hear about the Jets making a run for Aaron Rodgers to come back, just so they can come back to reality next week when they get their asses whipped. But shout out to you, Zach Wilson. You are my dog of the week this week.
I mean, he likes some gilfs and some milfs.
Yes, he does.
Here's my NFL Week 14 dog of the week. And it was a guy, they left this team for dead. And really, if you think about it, I know it's Monday through Friday with different NFL weeks, but if you count in Monday too, I mean, has anybody had a better week than the dog that is Jake Browning? I mean, 18 to 24, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the dub. They beat the Colts, and then before that on Monday they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in back-to-back games, in 2 games where the Bengals had to win. They have found it with Jake Browning in back-to-back games. Jake Browning is my dog of the week, baby.
Well deserved too, man. He's played well for them, giving them exactly what they needed. I don't know, man. They Cincinnati may have to look into something with Joe Burrow's injury history. He's injury prone, and anybody could run this system. It looks like. So I don't know, man. Maybe there's some controversy.
There's no controversy.
Shout out to Jake Browning, man, playing well.
Hey, I don't know if this guy's under contract for next year, but you're playing yourself into somebody a high money level backup position. You know what I mean?
He's going to start for the Bengals next year.
There's enough desperate teams out there that if he plays well the rest of the season, somebody will give him some kind of money to come in and play for them.
Compete for the job, at least, right?
Yeah, at least compete for the job if they don't have him signed. But, I mean, talk about, this is exactly what you want the backup to do, to be able to come in and just keep the train moving. They got some great weapons there. The defense is playing well. And they caught Indianapolis, who Indy needed this game as well. But they did what they had to do. So yeah, that's definitely well-deserved dog of the week right there for Mr. Browning.
And in case anybody doesn't know, Justin Herbert broke a finger, so he could be done for 2 or 3 weeks here.
Just
sit him out.
Just shut him down. Just shut him down, bro. There's no point. There's no point, man.
It was Browning. I was going to go Rashad White, but I've wanted to give love to the Browning kid, and it could be. We might have a new saying around here. It could be Bodkins Browning Bengals.
Yes,
we could have a new saying, baby.
We talk so much too about the AFC North, but we were thinking more Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Now Baltimore, they won this. They found a way to win this week, but they look like they're vulnerable. Pittsburgh is just garbage. They just happen to be
right
lucky.
Now, I would take the Bengals over, because Kenny Pickett's out. I would take Browning over Trubisky any day of the week.
Yes, absolutely. It could seriously be Baltimore, Cleveland, and Cincinnati all making it out of the.
Who knows? It's all wide open. I mean, we literally, like I said, there's 11 teams.
Yeah.
To fill 7 spots.
Yeah, 11 out of the 15 teams in the AFC are in the hunt. That's wild, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah, the thing with the Bills is their schedule down the stretch is tough. They got Dallas next week.
Yeah. The Bills got a tough schedule.
Yeah, they have a tough schedule. If they beat Dallas next week,
if they make it into the playoffs, they're gonna earn it.
They earned it. Yeah. Scott, before we get out here, you got any final thoughts or anything, and any gambling tips for Monday Night Football for us?
First of all, great day of football today. A lot of teams fell into the playoff spots. A lot of teams out. So this is one of the better weeks of the NFL. In terms of tomorrow night, I would go Derrick Henry under yards. I think Miami's going to take him out of the get mix very quickly tomorrow night. I would go Tua over passing yards. I think Tua is going to throw for 300 yards. And I would take Tyreek for an anytime touchdown. In terms of the Packers game, I think Jaden Reed's going to have a huge game tomorrow night against the Giants. Watson's out. I think Jaden Reed's going to be the beneficiary of Jordan Love's, so to speak, love. And if Aaron Jones plays tomorrow night, that just messes up the A.J. Dillon stuff. So, but Jaden Reed over, Derrick Henry under, and Tyreek anytime touchdown. You know he's getting one. He might even get two, but you know he's getting one. So
yeah, man, it was a great day of football. Like I said, I'm loving these Sundays where I can just sit back and watch the rest of the league and not have to worry about my team. They, of course, play tomorrow night against Mr. Sam Dean's Tennessee Titans at home at the Hard Rock on Monday night. So that should be a fun game. Definitely check out the Aqua and Orange Insight Show with me and my boy Alex tomorrow at 7. We'll preview that game. I'm going to holler at Sam and see if he's they've got some stuff going on in Tennessee. So we'll see if Sam is available to, to come on the show for a little bit as we preview the Monday night game. And of course, we got our show. I will be back right after this Cowboys-Eagles game for the late game roundup show, me and my boy Alan. Shout out to Rob Logan. He's not feeling the best right now. So all thoughts and prayers and good vibes, everything, send that to Rob Logan's way. But we'll hold it down for him tonight. But it's been fun, man. It's been this NFL season has been a lot of fun, man. And I think, like I said before, I think it's wide open. So it's going to be some interesting. It's going to be interesting going down the stretch here these last few weeks of the season.
Yes, Scott. I think you mentioned this on Monday, or maybe one of y'all did it, or on Thursday about tomorrow night. It's the last matchups to get into your fantasy playoffs, and we got 2 Monday night football games going on at the same time. If you don't think that's not going to draw eyes for everybody that got a couple of guys going in their leagues to try to figure out if they're making the playoffs, they'll be tuned in. And you look at the Dolphins heavily, obviously, in the fantasy game, not so much the Giants, but you got Saquon. The Packers do got, Jordan Love and Dobbs and Reed, and the Titans got, D-Hop and Henry. So it's going to be a interesting fantasy matchups as we wind down week 14 and start the playoffs for people next week.
By the way, just to let you guys know, I did my part in the LTS league. I beat Brosnan. I'm up by a ton going into tomorrow night.
Alan
I got a chance to beat Scott,
bro. I need Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown to have huge games today, and then I got to figure out. I'm gonna have one player left tomorrow. I got to figure out what wide receiver in my flex position can get me 87 points or some shit like that, so that I can catch up to Allen, bro. All his guys just went off today, bro. Especially Mr. What's his name? Mr. London. Drake London just went nuts, bro. 30 points almost for him. So
it'll be close. It'll be close for me in that league. I'm losing 111 to 117. Rob's got CeeDee Lamb still going tonight, but tomorrow I got Achane. And I got somebody else going in that game, I thought. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's just Achane.
No, it's just Achane. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah. So if CD doesn't do much anymore the rest of the way, I feel pretty comfortable. Even if I'm just down 10 with Achane.
Achane will get you some points tomorrow, bro.
So that'll be.
He's got Jaden Reed tomorrow night too. So.
Oh, he does. He's got Jaden Reed. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, he's probably going to beat me then.
You still might get in. Dan Brown. I don't know.
I don't have my TV on. Is this right? Dallas is up 17-6?
17-6. Philly just just sneaked one in.
Philly's doing nothing. I just looked at the stats before I went on the LTS league. Philly's doing nothing tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Philly, but Hurts might be hurt more than we think he is. That might be the thing.
I mean, we said it early in the season that they weren't. We said it this morning too. They didn't feel the same with Philly this year like it did last year. They weren't just running all over people like they did last year. It's a lot more. It's a lot more competitive for Philly to win games this week, this season. And Dallas seems like they're going after that NFC East title, man.
Yeah,
but it ain't happening. It looks like tonight. So.
We'll see. It's not a lot of games. Yeah, Scott likes the teams are in danger getting blown out when they're only down 3-0. So.
Yeah, if the quarterback goes 3-0 on their first series of the game,
worst quarterback in the NFL.
Pull him.
Worst quarterback in the NFL.
I'm telling you, there's going to be one next week, one top shelf one. I'm already warning you guys now. It could be Patrick Mahomes. It could be Josh Allen. It could
Patrick
be
Mahomes, worst quarterback in the NFL after he goes 3-and-out on his first drive.
I might feel like that now.
Hey, their receivers have cost them 4 games. 4 games this year for sure.
It's really bad. They got to revamp their philosophy in Kansas City because it ain't working.
It reminds me of somebody. I read a thing on Twitter. It kind of reminds me like this is exactly what happened in Green Bay. They played the quarterback. The received pass catchers weren't a priority, and they don't have. And this is
but at least Green Bay tried to pay Devontae. He just wanted to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Like Kansas City told Tyreek, "Nah, we good, bro."
Yeah, you made him feel like the side piece,
right? You know what I'm saying? He ain't trying to hear that side chick stuff. So, thank you, Kansas City. Appreciate it.
This has been a great episode of the Bodkin Show. Thank you guys. Thank you, two gentlemen, for always joining me every Sunday night. For Scott Cove, Johnny Cruz, and myself, we'll be back tomorrow on the LTS Network, LTS Show, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. Man, a lot to talk about with the guys. We'll have Jim Behringer on, talk a lot of hockey, some wrestling. And then with Jonathan, man, we're going to talk about Shohei. And I mean,
700.
Beep, beep. And they would stop. Hey, bring in the other the other Brinks truck. Beep, beep.
These were 18-wheelers too. 18-wheeler, bro.
I will say this, and I'll say it tomorrow night. The Dodgers, their pitcher staff is going to suck next year.
Well, he's not pitching. Shohei's not pitching.
Who are you paying? Who are you paying to pitch?
They'll figure. Well, the great thing about that contract, and we'll talk about it tomorrow night, is they deferred. It's everything's really deferred. Like they're getting all these tax breaks and things like that. It's really interesting.
I mean, it was smart on him. I mean, I know we'll talk about it more tomorrow. It was smart on him to do a deal like that, though, to give the team the flexibility to be able to make them competitive. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being like, nah, I want all my money now.
Yeah, well, they're not going to win because we're paying you all the money.
Right, and that's what he wants. He wants to win. So I mean, the Toronto thing was a nice story because, like I said, I was just being selfish because
I never believed that he was going to Toronto.
I just wanted to be able to see him more often. You know what I'm saying? Even if he was in our division, I just wanted to watch him play. But I figured it was the Dodgers. I mean, it just made total sense for him to be in LA.
Listen, $70 million a year doesn't go as far as it used to. Let me tell you.
Right. You're getting them Hall of Fame checks.
We'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow night, folks. We'll see you then. Let's go. Let's see what happens the rest of this game. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Let me hit that outro.